Erik is the small one, but he's the strong one. I'm the large one, but I'm a flyer. That's what makes us a very unique tag team.
How did you guys get paired up?
It was a 2014 top prospect tournament in Ring of Honor.
Who were your guys growing up?
Sean's my guy.
There was so much buzz before you got signed to NXT.
Ring of Honor was big for us, but the New Japan gave us that buzz.
Why so many name changes?
When we got called up, they couldn't pass anything through legal.
Every great tag team at some point, someone turns on the other person.
I don't know. We're a package deal.
I don't think people realize how many people you have trained in your career.
I've helped train Kofi Kingston, Tommaso Ciampa, Dijak, Mercedes Moné. It's a long list.
What do people assume you do for a living?
When they ask, I say I'm a male dancer, or I do beard competitions.
Ivar, ladies and gentlemen. That music is... Ooh.
Yeah, I should have.
Should have won last night. Wow. That music is very menacing. Like, I feel like you're going to come out here and, I don't know, tear my flesh apart or something like that.
It should be a concern, yeah.
It is. Maybe I should move my chair a little bit further this way.
I'm not fast. You're good.
You're a large man.
Yeah.
You're a large man. How much does a man like you eat in a day?
Oh, way too many calories. way too many.
Do you count calories?
Oh, no. It's too much. It's too much. Count macros. I've tried it. It's just it ain't happening.
You don't do a lot of interviews, so I'm just pumped about this. And
I'm excited too, yeah.
Yeah, this is a great experience for everybody in here, so I can't wait for this. Your athleticism blows everybody away. I think that people aren't expecting a guy of your stature to be able to do moonsaults.
Yeah.
How did you even figure out you were capable of doing some of these things?
Oh, man. When I was a kid, I had a trampoline. And I definitely did a lot of flips on the trampoline. But having a trampoline, it builds the confidence to even attempt it. So having that confidence, then slowly becoming a professional wrestler, and then trying it in the ring. Having the confidence, doing stuff on the trampoline, gave me the confidence to do it in the ring.
Like the first time you do a flip on a trampoline, are you like, oh my gosh, I'm going to land on my head?
Yes, but when you're a kid, you don't have that rational fear all the time. So I was able to do it before that fear would kick in.
Doing it on a trampoline is one thing. Doing it off the top rope is something else. How do you build up the confidence to go, yeah, I can climb all the way up there and jump backwards and hope it works out?
You just do it. Yeah, there's no, at least for me, it was just do it. It wasn't, I know guys who, they have to work on the backflip and have to go with the first rope or have someone in the ring and guide them over with the flip. But with me, it's just go and do, and that was it.
And it's not just the moonsault, like you're doing cartwheels, you're doing all kinds of things. And I just think it's so impressive. And I think that that's what makes your moveset so interesting.
Yeah, we always talk about it as far as the tag team goes. I think what's made us a very successful team is our dynamic, because it's flip-flop from everything else you've ever seen before. It's Erik is the small one, but he's the strong one. He's the power. And I'm the large one, but I'm the high flyer. And that's what makes us a very unique tag team.
How did you guys get paired up in the first place?
It was Ring of Honor. It was the 2014 top prospect tournament in Ring of Honor. We'd never met before. And we ended up wrestling in the finals, where I won. And then Ring of Honor didn't know what to do with us, so yes, please, thank you. I beat Erik in the finals, 2014 top prospect winner. But then Ring of Honor wasn't sure what to do with us, and they put us together as a team, and then we set the world afire.
And you got to figure things out pretty quickly. Like, this is someone who you've wrestled against but never with. So how do you start to build the chemistry up?
A lot of it, just talking, hanging out. When we go on the road with Ring of Honor, it's making sure we're in the same car so we can talk about things. And it was weird because at the time, I'd already been wrestling for 13 years, him 11 or 12, and we'd never met before. So we didn't know each other at all. And as we started talking and stuff, we realized we're both straight edge. And we both have different parts of the country, but our stories in wrestling were fairly similar. And then our mindsets about wrestling, same page. So we were very fortunate to be paired together. Because there's guys who get paired together and they are not friends. And they do not get along. But me and Erik very quickly became brothers.
And you've been a wrestler now for 23 years.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Congrats on that. You're
Thank
still
you.
doing this. Yeah. Where'd that journey begin, and when did you fall in love with pro wrestling?
I can tell you the moment I fell in love with pro wrestling. It was Monday Night Raw. Razor Ramon versus the 1-2-3 Kid, or the Lightning Kid at the time.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a fan of wrestling at all. Some of my friends were. I didn't care for it at all. But I happened to see that match because Raw was on USA, and I happened to be flipping through the stations, and there it was, and I saw that match, and this nobody beat this megastar, and like that moment made me a fan, but it also made me want to do this for the rest of my life.
Did it seem like a path that was something that was attainable for you? You're a kid going, I want to do that thing, but...
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know how I was going to do it, but it was the goal, right? And that was the dream. And then as you get older, you learn, like, oh, there's a wrestling school, like Killer Kowalski's Pro Wrestling School in the Northeast, and like guys like Triple H, China, and Perry Saturn. And like, oh, man, Bloom, Baldo, A-Train, Mongolian, whatever you want to call him. Yeah, he went there. So it's like, oh, man, there's a place I can go. And even that route was weird because I couldn't afford it, so I had to go to a different school. But it was just trying to figure out, and then I eventually made it to that school, and Catholic wrestling, and it's a whole thing. But as far as being a kid, like it was never a question of like how it was going to happen. It was when.
Wow.
And it was me just figuring out how to navigate that.
And where'd that self-belief come from? To know, like, I'm going to make this happen. I don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't really, it's something that I felt in my soul. Like, I didn't want to do anything else. There was nothing else that I wanted to do. When I was a kid, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say it, but I did backyard wrestling. Like, I ran my own little wrestling promotion when I was in high school.
So did I.
And so did you, yeah. So did you, yeah.
So did a lot of us, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Lucky I can still walk.
Yeah.
Landed on my head a lot.
Yeah, same. I still am. But like I ran my own little promotion, and like so I didn't go out for the football team. I didn't go out for the baseball team. Like I was just writing backyard wrestling and storylines and figuring out how to do crazy things back then. So like it was always the goal.
What was your backyard wrestling name?
Oh, I had several.
Okay.
You want them all? I'll just give you a couple.
Okay, give me some good ones.
Ernie the Cab Driver Wilson.
Was he a cab driver?
Yeah, he was a dancing cab driver from the clubs of Boston.
That could work. That's
yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, he was good. There was Toddy the Body.
That guy's got a future.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. I think the main one that I had was the Road Todd.
The Road Todd.
Yeah.
The Road Todd Jesse.
Yeah. Well, it's me. It's that T-O-double-D. You know.
The T-O-double-D. That's good.
Yes.
Who were your guys growing up? Who were the people you really looked up to?
So I always loved, early on it was the underdogs, man. It was 1-2-3 Kid. It was Marty Jannetty, Aldo Montoya. It was those underdogs. I loved them. And that story, that's what drew me in, right? And seeing the 1-2-3 Kid beat Razor. So all those underdogs I loved. And as I get older, it's guys like Shawn Michaels and Triple H and those big stars from that era. But ultimately I think Shawn's my guy. And as I started training, it switched to more. Then it's like, I love Mr. Perfect. He's my favorite of all time. Mr. Perfect's my favorite of all time. And then as I get bigger, as I get larger, then it's like, man, watch me some Bam Bam Bigelow, watch me some Vader. So it evolves, I feel like.
Yeah, you've now crossed over you're in the big man category.
Yeah.
And a whole different category of supremely talented workers there. Is it Bam Bam? Is he the guy you look up to in that category?
Yeah, I think so. Bam Bam, Big Boss Man. Vader. I think Bam Bam, because Bam Bam was in the WWE when I first started watching. So like Bam Bam, all the stuff was Doink and stuff, and like, yeah. And then I feel like his matches with like Bret Hart, they still hold up today. Like you watch Bret and Bam Bam, it's like this is awesome.
And Bam Bam did these things where you're like, wait a second, he's able to do that?
Yeah.
And that's what you do now.
It is, yeah. Bam Bam used to cartwheel.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Also, how much of a full circle moment to go, I looked up to Shawn Michaels. Oh, yeah, by the way, now I work with him.
Oh, man. And Triple H. When we went to NXT, like, it's still like, it's mind-blowing to think about. Like, the night that we won the NXT Tag Championships, so TakeOver Phoenix, us versus Undisputed Era, and we win the titles. And then we're going back to the locker room. And before we get through the curtain, Shawn came out halfway onto the stage to greet us and to hug us. And like, man,
Wow.
What a moment. What a moment for us. We still have a picture. I don't know if we shared it publicly, but we had a big Viking entrance that night, and we got a picture of all of me, Erik, Valhalla, who was secretly under some of the mask shoes, Sarah Logan at the time on the main roster. Yeah, give Valhalla some props. And then Sean's with us with all the Vikings. It's a backstage photo. It's so cool, man.
If you're wanting to burn some extra calories or sweat out some toxins from a particularly big evening of food and drinks and indulging, check out the infrared sauna blanket from Bond Charge. I've been using this since last year, and I love how it raises your body temperature while you're just kind of sitting there relaxing, reading a book or watching TV. A session's usually 30 to 40-ish minutes, and you can burn up to 600 calories in one session. I was looking into getting a sauna because I knew of all the health benefits associated with it. And I knew it would complement the cold plunging really well. I do it every day, like I start the day with a cold plunge, and then right into the sauna, so extreme cold, and then into the heat. Then I saw the cost of a sauna, and an infrared sauna blanket from Bond Charge is a fraction of that price. And I think it might actually be better because you just kind of roll it out and crawl into it, kind of like a sleeping bag. It heats up in just a minute, and then you just let it do its thing. And I always feel so refreshed when I'm done with the infrared sauna blanket. Head to bondcharge.com/CVV to check out the infrared sauna blanket and use my code CVV. You'll save 15% on it. They've got free, lightning fast, worldwide shipping, and you're covered with a 12-month warranty. So that's bondcharge.com/CVV and the code CVV to save 15%.
You went through a few of the backyard wrestling names. You also had a bunch of names before NXT, a lot of different names that you went by.
Yes.
What were some of the gimmicks that you had that maybe didn't work that led you to where you are now?
So the beginning half of my career, I was Handsome Johnny. So much so that there's still a lot of guys who call me handsome. Kofi still calls me handsome. Tommaso still calls me handsome. My wife calls me handsome. Well, thank God.
I would hope so.
Thank God. We get in the fight, and she still calls me handsome. It's hilarious. So Handsome Johnny was the big one, but it was Handsome Johnny. It was I did the Duke of Elegance, Don Chesterfield, for a minute, who was also a backyard wrestling character that I brought into pro wrestling. Todd Hansen, the Brand New Bad, Warbeard Hansen, and then ended up in Ring of Honor.
And
Hansen Rowe.
You guys made such a name for yourself in Ring of Honor. There was so much of a buzz around you right before you got signed to NXT.
Yeah.
What was really fueling that?
So Ring of Honor was big for us, but I think it was the New Japan stuff that really gave us that buzz. Ring of Honor was big, but at the time, New Japan, it felt so much bigger. If you made it in Japan, then all of a sudden you're making it everywhere. So New Japan felt like what was really putting us over the edge. But that whole time frame, those like 2 years before we went to NXT, we were on the road constantly, and it was Japan, Mexico, England, Ireland, Canada, Ring of Honor, back to Japan, back to Ring of Honor. It was just, we didn't stop. We did the Butland's camp stores in England. Like, we were just on the road. There's a 2-month period of time where I was only home for 3 days. So it was wild, but all that was giving us that big buzz, all with a goal to hopefully make it here someday.
And there's all this buzz going on. I'm sure you're hearing it behind the scenes of people going, hey, WWE's going to hire you, or you're going to get some looks from NXT. When do you start believing that hype?
Man, so honestly, like in 2011, December 2011, I had shoulder surgery. So where we trained with Mike Hollow at the Chaotic Training Center, which was also part of Killer Kowalski's Pro Wrestling School. But the goal there was always WWE. It was never go to Ring of Honor, go to Japan, go to other places. It's always work here, work hard, and we'll all try to get you to WWE. That was the end goal, right? And then in 2011, December 2011, I had shoulder surgery that didn't end my career, but they were very concerned it could because my labrum was so bad. And when I came back from that, I gave up on the dream of WWE. I said, you know what? It's just not going to happen. I'm not 6'2", 240. I don't have abs. I don't fit that mold. That was the mold that whole time, from 2001 to 2011 when I was trying. That was the mold. I didn't fit that mold. And it felt like I failed so many times and all the opportunities that I had. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to forget it. I'm going to grow out my beard. and I'm gonna go for Ring of Honor. I'm gonna try that, so I can do something in this business before it's too late. But ultimately, putting all my eggs in the Ring of Honor basket instead of WWE basket, it got me here in a whole different route that I didn't know was available. So for us, and Erik as well, like we didn't think about this as the goal. We thought Ring of Honor was the goal, and then all of a sudden, we see New Japan over the mountaintop, and we're like, oh no, we might be able to get to New Japan. And then after that, it's like, oh, we're on a show in England, and William Regal's there, and he talks to us. We're like, oh, that was interesting.
Is that what started the wheels in motion?
We believe so.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything then, but it was, and then he did a chaotic wrestling show, which is where I'm from, up in the Northeast. And the promoter told me, he's like, can we get you and Ray at the time, you and Ray here? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And we flew ourselves to that show. Like, we didn't get paid. We wrestled the main event, and Regal was looking at us again. And then we did a New Japan show, and he just happened to be in Japan. And then the talk started to happen. But it was kind of crazy the whole way it all mapped out. And we had all that buzz and stuff, but if we didn't happen to be on that show in England, the Progress show, and Regal was there, maybe we didn't have a conversation.
Yeah.
But we happened to be there. And then we got ourselves to the next one. Then he happened to be, like, it just...
I love how life works like that.
It's timing.
If you're not in this place at this time, then this thing doesn't happen. That's why I love Back to the Future. It's my favorite movie of all time.
Yes.
Because if all these things don't line up, Marty's not even born,
Yeah, he's not even on the picture. Everybody fades away.
That's right. Yeah. The name changing thing is it's a common thing now, right? So with your career,
Yeah.
you debut as War Machine,
Yeah.
then War Raiders,
Yeah.
then the Viking Experience,
Yeah.
which people did not like very much.
They still don't like it.
That's true. And now it's the Viking Raiders.
Yes.
Why so many name changes?
We knew coming into NXT that our names would have to change. Mainly because right around the time that Ring of Honor named us War Machine, there was an MMA fighter who got in a lot of trouble for a lot of things. We don't want to mention it.
Yes.
So we had the conversation with Triple H, and he said, I can't have kids Googling that, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. So
don't Google it.
Yes, don't. It's not worth your time. So we're like, all right. So then we came with a bunch of names, and War Raiders is what was settled on. So we had a little bit of the element from the Indies, where we were War Machine, and a little bit more Viking going forward with the Raiders. No problem. And the fans were fine with it. They were fine with it. And I think we asked if we could just keep our Hanson and Rowe names because of we were associated with that, with the titles in New Japan and Ring of Honor. So people did search us. They all pop up. So there's lineage. And Hunter was totally cool with that. So that's how it started. But when we got called up, yeah, that was a little rough. And the way the story goes is Vince loves Vikings. So he found out there was a team in NXT that were Vikings. And he's like, yes, I want them. And now he wanted Viking in our name. And they couldn't pass anything through legal. There's already a Vikings football team. There's already a Vikings TV show. So none of the names they were trying, whatever they were getting through. And then somebody, I won't say who, because it was asked in the meeting, what are they? How to describe them? And then somebody describes us as they're this, they're that, they're like a Viking Experience. And it was that's it. They're the Viking Experience. And not one person was happy or okay with that except for the one man. So we were stuck. And then our debut, we find out last minute that we're coming in. We get flight cancellations. We don't land it was in Montreal. We don't land internationally in Montreal until I didn't end up getting to the building until almost 5 p.m. the day of our debut. So we couldn't even talk to him. We get there and we see on the Tron Viking Experience. We're like, oh man, what is going on? So we went to talk to him and be like, look, we can't be this amusement park ride name. And we talked to him and he respect. And we went there and we were told about the whole Viking thing. So we were told if you're going to pitch names, just make sure it says Viking in it. So we had 6 or 7 names, Viking names that we had picked. We'd already given up on our regular names, Erik and Ivar. No problem, whatever.
So on top of the tag team having a different name, you've got different names now too.
Yeah, and that wasn't worth even trying. So we're just trying to change because the tag name was so bad. It was awful.
It still is.
It still is. It haunts us to this day. And when we were listing off these names, we got to Viking Raiders, and he stopped us and said, hey, look, this is how we're going to introduce you to the audience, the main roster audience, and if it doesn't work, we'll change it going forward. And literally 2 days later on the website, it changed.
So you were Viking Experience for?
I think 3 days.
So one show.
Yeah, one show, 3 days. And it haunts us to this day.
Like the tweets after this, like that came out, it was bad.
It's bad then, it's still bad now.
Yeah.
Every week?
Yeah.
It's fine, though, it's fine. At least everybody remembers it, right?
They do. Ivar's not bad.
No, it's not bad. So the other thing, too, is he didn't care who was who.
Oh, my gosh.
And so we had to have the discussion
Was he
right
like, pick a
afterwards.
name out of a hat?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you Google top Viking names, you see Erik and Ivar. But so he didn't care which one of us was which. So we get to talk to him, and I had looked at Ray at the time, and I'm like, Ray, I can't be my brother's name going forward because my brother's name is Erik, E-R-I-K, spelled exactly the same. Please. He's like, okay, yeah, you can be Ivar, I'll be Erik.
So I got a lot of messages from people asking, how is it possible that you can bet on WWE PLEs at MyBookie? I mean, it's scripted. How can you bet on something that's scripted? So look, I don't know the logistics behind it, but I do know that when you go to mybookie.ag, not only can you bet on WWE, you can bet on the UFC, boxing, you can bet on Jake Paul's next fight, you can bet on the NBA, you can bet on everything there. And I do know that when you sign up using the promo code CVV, you'll get a 50% bonus on your first deposit. So put in $100, now you've got $150. Put in $200, now you've got $300. You get the point. So if you're already picking the winners of these WWE events, why not make a little bit of money while you're at it? Use that promo code CVV at MyBookie.
How is Erik doing?
He's great. Yeah, he was just here. We did like a meet and greet, and he's there for the weekend. It's just, I mean, it's neck surgery, so
yeah.
It's a matter of time, and everybody's neck heals differently.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of him getting cleared. So I mean, he's doing great, physically great. It's just doctors need to clear him.
Sure. And
then he needs to get back to in ring, and so it'll take some more time.
But so you'd worked as a tag team wrestler for so long. Now you're doing a lot of singles stuff now.
So I joke a lot about this. So when we were in Ring of Honor, we got put as a team. We're catching fire. And then he gets in a motorcycle accident and tries to ruin my wrestling career. So here now I got to do single stuff in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
So then I get a big push in Ring of Honor. I'm wrestling the main event of the pay-per-view for the title, and he returns and he tries to ruin my wrestling career again.
Well, he's getting ready to return, I think, to ruin your wrestling career again.
Yes, exactly. It's all over again. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Every great tag team at some point, someone turns on the other person. I feel like there's going to be a great program with Erik and Ivar at some point.
Yeah, I don't know. We're a package deal. And just like the New Day's a package deal, I feel like we're a package deal.
The Usos were a package deal, and
they were.
Well, we're seeing how that's working out for them now.
But that took a long time, so I don't know. But I feel in my heart, we're a team. When we're a team, we're in this together. We wouldn't be where we are today without each other. And I feel like just like the New Day, we're not going to split up for anything. Maybe each of us have single stuff on the side, but we're a team forever.
And Valhalla is part of this package, too.
Of course, yeah.
What a fun moment with her putting the antlers on Michael Cole.
Yes.
Was that just a spur-of-the-moment thing?
Valhalla planned it. Actually, Valhalla had planned it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and there was never a moment to do it. Michael Cole had no idea. So it was for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and then finally we had this opportunity for her to get it in there, and she got it in.
And Michael Cole played along with it so well.
Yeah, it was his greatest moment of his life. That was better than his WrestleMania match.
I mean, that's actually true.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But what a fun moment that became something that was even bigger than what it was on TV.
Yeah. It caught fire on the internet. It went a little viral, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Cole just, seems like he's having so much fun right now.
Yeah, he is. He's the best. He's definitely the greatest.
Where are your antlers?
Oh, well, we had them before, but that was more of a before Viking Raiders thing. Now we got the crown.
That's right. The crown's probably much better anyway.
It's cool, yeah.
Who are the people in the ring that you like to mix it up with the most?
I love wrestling Ricochet.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
you guys just had a match recently.
Yeah, we have great chemistry. It was so cool because we got to wrestle at the Barclays Center, and almost 5 years today earlier, we had the takeover match, War Raiders versus Aleister Black and Ricochet for the tag titles. So it was so cool to be back in the same building to get to wrestle Ricochet again. But I love wrestling Ricochet. But honestly, a lot of the guys have been wrestling recently. I love wrestling, and our chemistry is great. I love wrestling Bronson. I love wrestling Otis. Chad Gable, what an amazing talent. I love wrestling him. I wrestled Sami Zayn for the first time ever. That was awesome. I've been having this little singles run. I've been wrestling guys for the first time ever in singles matches constantly. It feels like every week is a new matchup that I haven't done before, and it's been a lot of fun.
To borrow a line from Big E, it's big, beefy men slapping meat. Is it big, meaty men slapping meat.
Slapping meat, yeah.
Yes, there.
We had a
big, meaty men slapping meat.
we had a little meat mania last night.
It was a little meat mania.
Yeah.
What's different when you're working someone like Ricochet versus working someone like Bronson?
It's very different.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very different. And I don't know who I like wrestling better. Maybe the little guys, because I can throw them around. But yeah, it's very different because you have to approach putting those matches together much differently because it's not the same story, right? Two big guys or a big guy and a little guy. And big guy and little guys always need your story to tell. So
yeah.
It's
David versus Goliath. Yeah.
Yes, it seems to be easier, right? But Goliath versus Goliath, it's Kong versus Godzilla, and it's a whole different story. So I like them both. They're very different to put together.
I don't think people realize how many people that you have trained in your career.
Yeah.
Could you give us a few that we might not know?
Yeah. So I've helped train guys like Kofi Kingston, guys like Tommaso Ciampa, guys like Dijak from NXT, or Oni Lorcan from NXT. I trained Mercedes Moné. I was one of her trainers. She had 3 trainers. I was one of them. So it's a long list. Pretty much most people who came through New England at some point, I helped train them.
You and Kofi had a sneaky good match the last time you guys were in the ring together. Like, sneaky good. Is that because there's that long history?
No. I mean, you could say that, but I think it's because Kofi's an amazing human being. That's what it comes down to. Unselfish. And like all the stars aligned that night. It was the night that, it's what started this whole singles run. It was the night that Erik was taken off TV because they discovered atrophy, and he needed the neck thing. So we were scheduled for a 2 out of 3 falls match with New Day. So that match got scrapped, and then they just decided to put me and Kofi into a singles match instead, but they didn't cut our time. So we had the same amount of time as we would have had for a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Oh, wow.
And then, I'm like, this is probably my last match, because historically, when the one tag guy goes out, both tag guys gotta go out. So I said to Kofi, this is probably my last match. I'll be out with Ray while he's getting fixed up. Just like, all right, let's do it. Let's do the match. Let's kill it. And that's what we did. And after the match, I got called over and said, hey, Ivar, do you mind sticking around doing some single stuff while Erik's out? I'm like, absolutely.
So that match was the match that really changed the trajectory that you were on.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
And it's because, and then part of it is Kofi being like, oh, I get to give him his flowers now.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate. I got to be at WrestleMania when he won the title.
Oh,
and
wow.
I got to meet him right through Gorilla afterwards, and it was a real special moment. And I'm excited because I'm going to be there tonight for Tommaso's first WrestleMania.
Oh, wow.
I'll be there for the same thing, so I get a little emotional talking about that, but I'm really happy for those guys. But so Kofi just being unselfish and being the great human being that he is, and just because he's a former world champion, he doesn't have to do good things for me, and he does. He does for everybody. So it's because of Kofi.
I've heard people say that if you don't like Kofi, then there's a problem with you. Like,
for sure.
Because everybody likes Kofi.
Yes, everybody likes Kofi. He's the greatest.
Talk to me about what it was like, WrestleMania 35, Kofi Mania. He wins the championship, the big celebration in the ring. As soon as he comes back through Gorilla, what's it look like?
So yeah, he does the stuff in Gorilla, but he comes out and he sees me and he just loses his mind. Like, you taught me how to bump. You know how Kofi gets, you taught me how to bump. Here we are. He's all fired up, man. Oh, it was such a good moment. There's footage of it somewhere. I hope to see it someday.
Oh, that's amazing. It's been so good to be able to catch up with you and spend some time with you.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm curious before we wrap this up, when you sit next to somebody on a plane with the big beard and you're wearing something like this, what do people assume you do for a living?
Oh, well, when they ask, I say I'm a male dancer.
I mean, it's maybe not untrue in certain ways.
Yes.
Maybe they're like, do you play football? Is that it?
Yeah,
Probably get a
football,
lot
or they always think I'm like either a strongman,
Oh, yeah, sure.
or I do like beard competitions.
You should do beard competitions.
I probably should, yeah.
I feel like it's a travesty that you don't.
Yes.
Look at this thing.
Yes.
If it's unbraided, what does it look like?
Well, currently it'd be a mess.
Yeah.
But it's this big, bushy, fantastic, massive thing.
Incredible.
Yes.
All right, so I'll ask the same question at the end of this that I asked everybody. What are 3 things that you're grateful for? Because gratitude's such a big part of my life.
Yeah. 3 things, huh? Well,
3 things right now, today.
One is to be here living this. Because especially from when I got injured in 2020, I thought my career was over when I had that neck injury. And being able to be here now as an active wrestler at WrestleMania 40, the biggest WrestleMania of all time, just being here and present, signing autographs, seeing the fans, I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful that I can still be here and see some of those guys that I trained. Be here. Erik and Valhalla came in. I haven't seen Erik since he had surgery. To see him here and to know that he will be back, it's just a matter of time. And to know that we're going to be doing the Viking Raider thing again on the big stage, I'm grateful for that. And I'm just grateful for the love and support from the fans. When I got signed, this is a little bit of a long story. I'll try to keep it as short as possible. But when I got signed, I dreamed of that moment to be in chaotic wrestling in my home promotion, and to be able to do my whole speech to leave and be like, you know what, I did this to prove everybody wrong. But when I got out there to do the speech, and I was in the ring, I realized I didn't do it to prove everybody wrong. I did it to prove everybody who believed in me that they were right. And I'm grateful to every day be able to succeed and know that I'm doing it for everyone who believed in me.
I love that. Amazing. Ivar, ladies and gentlemen, this is so good. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.